Wonderhussy here, out in the middle of nowhere in the desert outside Barstow at a place I covered a long time ago called the Desert Lighthouse. Okay, I made a video here way back in 2018, and if you've been watching my channel that long, you might remember that I camped out here overnight when I was on my way to my mom's house for Thanksgiving. And it was kind of spooky camping out in the desert right outside Barstow all by myself. But I felt safe and protected because I was bathed in the glow of this lighthouse. And if you didn't see that video, well, you're probably wondering what the heck a lighthouse is doing in the middle of the friggin' Mojave Desert. I mean, if I pan around, you can see that we are a long way from any water whatsoever, let alone an ocean. I mean, we're basically on a little hill in a sea of sand and creosote bushes. So why is there a lighthouse in the desert outside Barstow? Well, we're not just in the desert outside Barstow, we're also in the desert outside a suburb of Barstow called Hinkley, California, which was made infamous by the movie Erin Brockovich, okay? Remember the movie Erin Brockovich? Julia Roberts played that big city attorney who came out to help the citizens of this blighted desert community that were being poisoned by the utility and ended up securing them the biggest settlement in a direct action lawsuit in U.S. history. Okay, I guess what happened is Pacific Gas and Electric, aka PG&E, has a compressor station here for their natural gas pipeline. And to prevent rust and algae from building up on the ductwork in the cooling towers, I guess they use this really nasty, super carcinogenic chemical called hexavalent chromium. And then when they would flush out the cooling towers, they would pour all that wastewater that was contaminated with hexavalent chromium into unlined settling ponds or wastewater pools, I guess. And then the hexavalent chromium would just leach right down into the groundwater, and it did so for decades. And meanwhile, the people who lived in Hinckley were getting pretty sick. They had really high incidences of cancer, asthma, all kinds of bad stuff, but nobody would listen to them because who really cares about some busted little desert community on the outskirts of Barstow? No one's gonna listen to you complain. That is, until the arrival of Erin Brockovich. Okay, once Erin Brockovich came along and started making all that noise, won them that huge $333 million settlement, well, the folks in Hinckley had money now, and I guess many of them just decided to use that money to get the hell out of here and move somewhere else. You know, somewhere where they could drink the groundwater. You can't drink the groundwater here because it's so contaminated. For like a 6-mile square area, there's this plume, that's what they call it, a plume of contaminated hexavalent chromium water in the aquifer. And so I guess that's what happened. Anybody who could got the hell out of here. You know, they just took their settlement money and moved to Barstow or Boron or Mojave or someplace, any place where they could at least drink the tap water. And then apparently PG&E started buying up all the real estate, all the houses of these people who moved and bulldozing them, I guess to prevent any future lawsuits from people moving out here and drinking the groundwater. But it also kind of feels like they're buying up all these properties and bulldozing them because they're trying to erase this whole situation and make it like it never happened. Only thing is, it did happen. Nice try, PG&E, but you can't erase the lives of all these families who lived here in Hinckley. I mean, I'm standing on the foundation of one of their houses now. That was their shower. This was their living room sofa or their back patio couch. That was their little fireplace. You know, people grew up here. People raised their families here. People made memories here. They didn't necessarily want to leave just because some big utility company came in and polluted their groundwater. And so to this day, there are still a lot of people hanging on here, even though they can't drink the water and they have to drink bottled water. I guess the state of California is working with PG&E and trying to help them clean up this 6x6 mile. I'm not very good at math, but isn't it like a 36 square mile plume of hexavalent chromium? Apparently one way they can do it is if they use the water to water alfalfa fields. Somehow when the alfalfa absorbs the water, it converts it into a harmless other kind of chromium, trivalent chromium. I don't know. I'm not a chemist. I'm not a scientist. I'm just curious, and I'm also fascinated by and saddened by the way industry sometimes runs roughshod over these little rural areas. And it was only because some big city lawyer from Los Angeles came out here and took this as her case that these people got any money at all. Anyway, that's why there's a lighthouse in the middle of the desert outside Hinckley. Or at least that's my understanding. Although I can't be 100% sure of that because the artist who built this thing, I guess he first built another lighthouse somewhere in the desert by Landers or someplace like that in Johnson Valley. But that lighthouse ended up getting busted up by vandals. According to one thing I read online, they called them desert hyenas. You know, those meth-addled Mad Max post-apocalyptic hills have eyes, toothless desert dwellers out here who will tear anything apart and blast anything you try to do nice to high heaven. Those desert hyenas. Well, I guess because his first lighthouse was destroyed, the artist, this guy named Daniel Hawkins, ended up coming out here to Hinckley and building Lighthouse 2.0. So I don't really know if the lighthouse had anything to do with Hinckley specifically, or if it's just a happy accident, because it really is the perfect symbol for a community that has been through everything Hinckley has been through. Either way, though, apt metaphor or no, the local desert hyenas were still really skeptical about this place when the artist was building it out here. I guess everybody in town thought it was some kind of spy tower from the CIA or some kind of military espionage thing, because we are right outside Edwards Air Force Base, and so the people out here do see all kinds of mysterious things flying around in the sky. Well, I guess in the finest tradition of desert hyenas, pot-smoking desert hyenas, conspiracy theory channel watching pot-smoking desert hyenas, this thing looked like some kind of spy device from the US government, and so I guess because of that, they tried to vandalize this tower too. You know, I guess they thought it was some kind of 5G, COVID spreading, Bill Gates, George Soros, middle finger to American values. I'm not really sure. I know that I read online that the artist who built this thing was sleeping in here one night and somebody shot at the dang lighthouse while he was in it. Now, I don't know if the people shooting at it knew anyone was in it, but they shot at him. And in fact, I think you can still see the bullet holes in the exterior of the lighthouse to this day. I guess what he did is he has a foghorn in there, or he had a foghorn in there. So when these friggin' desert hyenas started shooting at it, I mean, put yourself in his position for a minute. That would be so scary to be sleeping in your lighthouse in the middle of the peaceful desert, and then all of a sudden you hear this off-road vehicles approaching in the night, and then you hear gunshots. What do? Well, if you're Daniel Hawkins, you bust out your foghorn and let her rip. Okay, that was a terrible impersonation of a foghorn. Apologies for that, but I just think that's so badass, man. I guess it worked too, because not only did the desert hyenas apparently leave him alone, he's still alive and well to this day. And how do I know that? Well, because he emailed me, okay? In my first video, I think I said something like, Daniel Hawkins, you seem like a really interesting guy. If you happen to be watching this video, hit me up. You know, I do that in my videos sometimes. Well, guess what? He did hit me up. Come to find out, Daniel Hawkins, who's based in Los Angeles, the big city, takes people out here to the lighthouse for field trips every now and then. You know, big city, fancy art appreciating folk. Apparently he buses them out here a couple times a year to the little town of Hinckley, And today is one of those days. There's a busload of art appreciation people from LA on its way right now, and I'm supposed to go meet them at the local dive bar so that we can get a tour of the lighthouse from the artist himself. So I better stop yakking, get in my car, and get down there. Okay, wow, this is the little dive bar where I'm supposed to meet the artist and his bus full of art patrons from Pasadena. And I can't tell you how excited I am to be here because I have driven past this bar so many times, mostly on my way to and from the Bay Area, which my mom still lives up there, just like she did when I filmed the video camping at the lighthouse. I still have to pass through this area on my way to see her. But I think it's pretty cool that the artist picked a place like this for the meeting spot to help support the local businesses. Oh, speaking of the artist, I think all the people from Pasadena have just arrived in not 1, 2, but 3 vans. Okay, wow, all these people came out here from LA to little old Riley's place in Hinkley, California, just to see this dang lighthouse. And I guess we're supposed to go into the bar for the first part of the tour, so might as well go get a drink. Oh wow, this is one of those classic desert dive bars. Pool table, funky antiques over the bar, Budweiser on the wall, biker's prayer. Oh, naked and afraid. I feel right at home. Look, there's the artist. That's Daniel Hawkins, the man responsible for the lighthouse and for all of this. Look how many people he brought into this little teeny tiny desert bar. These bartenders aren't gonna know what hit them. Okay, this is Daniel Hawkins, the man, the myth, the legend, the keeper of the lighthouse, right?
Yep, keeper of the Hinkley light. How's it going? We've met after 8
It's been 8 years, and you did hit me up per my request, and you invited me out here, so thank you. I think it's super cool that you're doing this and that you're patronizing these local businesses.
Yep.
You know, not just coming in here and building your lighthouse on the hill and ignoring the community.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah. In 2018, that's when I really understood how much community is still here in Hinckley. And so I got to meet everybody, talk to everybody, hear all their rumors and stories about the lighthouse. They had all sorts of...
I bet they did.
Yeah, they had all sorts of crazy stories, and then became lots of friends with lots of people. And I've spent so many nights here at Riley's place, hanging out.
Singing karaoke?
Singing karaoke, sharing stories, staring at the lighthouse because they have a great view from here.
Oh, I bet they do. Well, I can't wait to see it. We're going to a dinner at the community center next.
Yep.
And then we're going to go up to the lighthouse for sunset.
Exactly. Yep.
Far out, brother. Thank you
Of course,
for
of
the
course.
invite.
Absolutely.
Dreams really do come true.
They do.
Okay, it was definitely a strange experience to see 3 busloads of fancy LA folk milling around a dive bar on the outskirts of Barstow. And at first, it seemed like kind of an awkward culture clash. But that's what I thought was so interesting. Daniel wasn't just shuttling a bunch of tourists out here in air-conditioned comfort to check out his art installation. This was an immersive experience. He wanted them to understand the context of the lighthouse by getting a feel for what life is like for the people of Hinckley. Most of the tour group had never been to Hinckley, and if they'd even heard of it at all, it was from the Erin Brockovich movie. So as we drove to the community center for our next stop, Daniel gave a brief history of what went down, even detouring past the PG&E compressor station so the group could see it for themselves.
Here on the left is the compressor station. If you look even further to the left, you're going to see the evaporation pools. So these are the same pools that leached all the chemicals. Now you can see that they're lined, and that is now, properly contained.
Come to find out, the biggest irony in this whole tragedy is PG&E doesn't even serve Hinckley. The natural gas pipeline being serviced runs to the San Francisco Bay Area. Just another example of rural folk getting the shaft. Tale as old as time. But it's been 33 years since the Erin Brockovich lawsuit, so none of the current PG&E employees were even there back then. And according to Daniel, the new staff is dedicated to cleaning up the messes of their predecessors. considerable progress has been made, and we'd learn more about that at the community center. Okay, far out, we are at the Hinckley Community Center, which also serves as the Hinckley Post Office. That's right, this is such a small town, and it's not even a town, it's a census designated place, that the community center doubles as the post office. And tonight triples as a dining room. Okay, going into the community center. Let's see what we have. Oh, look how cute. There's all tables. Oh my gosh, look at this. They did a mural of the lighthouse on the wall. Isn't that amazing? Wow.
Wonderhussey.
What's your name, miss?
Tammy.
Tammy, you're a viewer of the Wonderhussy channel?
Yes.
And you live here in Hinckley?
Yes.
You do? And what, is this your granddaughter?
No.
Oh, okay.
Pastor's daughter.
Oh, the pastor is she's a cutie, and so are you. Thank you for your hospitality here. And thank you for watching my videos.
I love her videos.
See?
She's quirky.
You heard it here first. That's the pastor. Nice, young pastor. You don't see him this young these days. Did you do this mural of the lighthouse?
I contributed a little bit. I did a couple little foliage things there.
Oh man, it looks amazing. I love that. Yeah, thank you so much for having us over. We appreciate it. And here's John. He's kind of in charge of the show here. He's a big civic booster in Hinckley, sort of like the unofficial mayor, I guess. John, thank you for your hospitality, having us here.
No, it's actually good that you're here.
Yeah, we want to spread the word, right?
Correct. We want a good message coming out. You know, there's a lot of good things that could happen here, and that's what we're looking to try to do.
Yeah, forget the past, and we'll help you spread the word for a positive future.
Correct. We was watching your video.
Oh, you were? Thank you, brother. How about that?
I want to introduce him to you.
I got a lot of fans here in Hinckley. Who would have thought? It was humbling to meet people who watch my channel here, considering the half-assed job I did with my previous Hinckley videos. Because come to find out, everything I thought I knew about Hinckley was wrong. And I wasn't the only one. As we enjoyed a delicious cheeseburger dinner, John laid out for us what's really going on.
Don't believe everything you read. It's the Erin Brockovich movie. Didn't do us any favors.
What he meant was that the movie oversimplified a complex situation and made things even more challenging for the people who chose to stay in Hinckley. You might think it's bonkers to stay in a contaminated town where you can't drink the water, but think about it. Those residents who did sell their homes to PG&E to be bulldozed were legally prohibited from staying in the same zip code. So you can kind of understand why some people who grew up and raised their families in this area turned down the offer. After all, PG&E installed whole house water filtration systems on homes in the contaminated area, and even now, the groundwater is tested every 3 months.
I know what's in my water. You guys know what's in yours. That's the thing. There's thousands of wells out here being tested, and our water is safe.
He made a good point. How many of us know exactly what's in our water? I mean, I know my sister and I can't drink the water in our well, but I've never personally had it tested, so I don't even really know for sure why not. John had maps showing the current size of the contaminated plume, which has shrunk considerably thanks to various mitigation efforts. But the myth of Hinckley, the creepy, toxic town, persists, and I was ashamed to learn that I am a part of the problem.
We have to fight constantly with YouTubers coming in here saying, this is Hinckley, how do you live out here? How do you drink the water? How do you survive? Because they didn't really dig into it.
Point taken, John, and my sincere apologies for sensationalizing your community. This video will undoubtedly get fewer views than a gratuitous toxic abandoned town ruin porn drive-by, but it feels good to share the truth. And despite all the abuse the people of Hinckley have suffered, John and his allies aren't bitter.
You know, for us here now, the people that are left, we want to move forward. You know, living in bitterness and unforgiveness is horrible. So it's time for us to move forward. We're looking at a brighter future now. So there's going to be some good, positive things going to happen. And hopefully getting the word out and changing the narrative out here is going to be the key to it.
Forgiveness is a Christian value, and Hinckley is a pretty devoutly Christian community. That faith helped them through some pretty dark times and is also a big part of the reason the Desert Lighthouse has been embraced by the locals. A lighthouse is a beacon that to Christians symbolizes Jesus as the light of the world. And John thinks it was built here for a reason.
A lighthouse. We can't forget about that, because when Daniel put that up, everybody out here, number one, couldn't figure out what's going on up there. What's happening? But when the lighthouse came out here, it means something. And I told Daniel a little story about my personal life and how I went through the fire, and I realized the community went through the fire, but yet that lighthouse was something that when we drive out here every night, you can't help but see it. So people that live out here go outside, they cannot help but see it. I told Daniel, he thinks he put it up for one reason. I believe he put it up for another reason. And I think Divine is guiding that. So thanks for
How cute. Okay, back in the shuttle for the last stop on this fascinating tour of Hinckley, and that is a sunset trip to the lighthouse. While driving out to the lighthouse, Daniel confirmed that he did choose Hinckley as the final site for his art installation, specifically because of its history.
I didn't want to necessarily place this where it would just be seen as art. I wanted to be seen as potentially something larger and different.
Due to the symbolism, it seemed like a natural fit, so he got a grant to buy the land, and while he was building it, spent enough time out here over the years to bear witness to the community of Hinckley gradually disappearing from the face of the desert. Even as they worked to clean up the contamination, PG&E bought and bulldozed house after house, and Caltrans did the same to make way for the new Highway 58 bypass. But the worst blow came in 2024.
And then as we go over the railroad tracks, we're going to see a large fence area. That was the school. And this was one of the most controversial demolitions, because as soon as a community loses its school, it really sets it on a path that's hard to reverse from. So Riley's, the community center, and the church are really the remaining points of community in this town.
Hearing and seeing all this, you might say the people of Hinckley should just give up, move on, and let PG&E bulldoze everything into oblivion. At least that would roust out the squatters living in the abandoned houses left behind. But as a sensitive artist, Daniel even had a nuanced take on that.
As we look to the right, we're going to see quite a few derelict structures, and then some contemporary homesteaders. Most of these people are squatting in abandoned buildings, squatting on land they don't necessarily own. It's this community, and some of the periphery of this community is in extreme flux.
I had to laugh at the phrase contemporary homesteaders. I guess that's nicer than calling them desert hyenas. And it just goes to show how careful Daniel is not to disparage the people in this area. After spending so much time in this community, he's developed a real respect for the people of Hinckley, and that's a big part of why he does these tours. Okay, hiking back up the hill to the lighthouse at sunset, and it's a lot cooler once the sun goes down. I don't know if you can see, but there is actually a rotating beacon at the very tippy top, which wasn't there when I made my video in 2018. Apparently, he's done quite a bit of work on this lighthouse since then, including, I guess there's an observation deck. I think you can climb up in the lighthouse only on one of these supervised tours. Don't think you're just gonna come out here, climb over his fence, and go up there yourself. But because we're on this supervised field trip, I think we all get to climb up into the lighthouse. Okay, wow, I definitely want to climb up to that observation deck, especially because it looks like there's a big raptor's nest up there. But, well, there's a bunch of people on this tour, and everybody's got to take their turn. So while they're all going up there to check that out, I'm gonna go look over here. They were just saying that there's a memorial over here. Okay, folks in Hinckley are apparently very religious, very Christian, and that's one reason why they have adopted this lighthouse, because a lighthouse is a big symbol in Christianity of faith and hope. And so I guess a lot of the locals have spread ashes of their loved ones up here. And I think some people buried their pets up here too, or their pets' ashes. Oh, look how cute. Oh yeah, this was for Marie Hilton. Oh, Marie. What an eternal resting spot. You have this beautiful view of the desert, and you're protected by the glow of the lighthouse. Super cool to see a small desert community embrace a work of art. You know, I've done several videos about these big city artists bulldozing their way into these rural communities with their grand schemes and ideas, and sometimes it seems a little bit tone deaf. That's why I think this whole situation is so cool. The people out here seem like they really embraced this lighthouse, and Daniel seems like he has really embraced the people of Hinckley. Okay, let's see if we can climb up inside the lighthouse. I'm just excited to go inside this fence. This thing was fenced off when I camped here, and I'm respectful, so I didn't climb over it. This is very exciting for me to get to go past the private property no trespassing sign and peer inside the bowels of the desert lighthouse. Okay, look how interesting. This is what it looks like inside the lighthouse. Look, these are the lights that make it glow from inside. These fluorescent lights light it up at night. But then I guess way up in the tippy top there's that rotating beacon too. Okay, can I come up? Okay, my turn. Yeah, it's warm in here. It's like a greenhouse.
During the summer, it is rough.
Oh boy, I bet. This is so cool. Okay, now let's look through the window and see what the view looks like from up here. Okay, this is a view not many get to see from on top of the lighthouse. Unfortunately, you really can't see very much through this plexiglass. You'll just have to take my word for it that it's absolutely beautiful. And there's an amazing sunset going on in the west. Wow. The sun offering a subtle celestial reminder that even the mightiest man-made lighthouse can't compete with Mother Nature. Okay, the sun has gone down, and a peaceful, easy feeling has descended on the Mojave Desert. Peaceful and easy because there's a lighthouse keeping watch over all of us. I just think that's so cool. Okay, my channel is pretty much all about weird stuff in the middle of nowhere. And this lighthouse definitely qualifies as weird stuff in the middle of nowhere. But this is also really meaningful. You know, it's really cool to see a work of art bring people together like this lighthouse has done for the people of Hinckley. And I dare say this lighthouse could be a beacon to all of us. Whether you live in Hinckley or Barstow or Vegas or anywhere, every place is facing its share of challenges right now. These are very uncertain times, and there's a lot going on. So maybe we can all get a little sense of peace and security just by looking at this little desert lighthouse, shining a beacon of hope for all of us.